Folks, how we doing? Happy Saturday. We are back on Wrestling with Emotion. WWE is across the pond today in the UK for Clash at Castle, and we got our started panel here. I'm Slicko, Mike Artham, Ernie, and we got Dwayne, two goalies, one mic. Boys, how we doing? How we feeling with this pay-per-view? I know, I'm excited.
Well, I'm doing fine. I don't know if you're stuck in the Matrix, Slick, because you got a little echo in your mic right now. I don't know if there's anything we can do to fix that on the fly.
He might actually be broadcasting from the UK. We don't
Yes,
know.
I was thinking that.
I thought he was the dude that was introducing the Shockmaster when he ran out and fell.
That's not good.
Yeah. If you want to come back in.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, we can hold on the fort for Slick until he gets back. But guys, huge day. We all saw the
huge
Finn
weekend.
the Finn Balor Instagram video of the set, and pretty excited for what's to come today because it looks like a big time pay-per-view setup as we expected, like almost the level of say like maybe a Royal Rumble or
WrestleMania level.
Yeah. I didn't want to say WrestleMania. Partham, but I'll let you I'll let you go there. I wasn't ready to say WrestleMania, but definitely to that level, right? Like that was seeing Finn Balor do that live video on his Instagram and just like, wow, I was kind of taken back. Like, holy shit, man, this is going to be the real deal.
I mean, just the fact that they're in a stadium is WrestleMania level in and of itself. Never mind this whole big castle setup that they got going here.
Yeah.
Clash at the castle.
Clash at the castle, baby.
Go ahead, Ernie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, for the people in Cardiff, I mean, this is their WrestleMania, so why not put out all the stops and have a great card? And they said this is going to be the biggest UK show since SummerSlam 92 at Wembley, which created one of the greatest matches of all time, and Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog, so why not replicate that, especially when you have so many people coming out, it's there's nothing wrong with having, I mean, I think Triple H realizes that the old regime didn't realize is it's okay to have more than one good wrestling show a year.
Yep.
I mean, never mind WrestleMania. The fact that it's been that long since there has been a big stadium show in the UK, this isn't WrestleMania. This is like Woodstock for crying out loud for them. I mean, they're just going to be so... Those UK fans are just like New York fans or like Chicago fans. They're so diehard. There's going to be soccer chants all throughout the show. It's going to be mayhem, regardless of what's going on in the ring or not. It could be like something, in the ring that's just a match that might be a little bit slow or a little bit slow paced, or maybe the crowd's not as interested, and they're just going to break out in freaking soccer chants or whatever, and just heckle the shit out of the wrestlers, and they'll make it an interesting show, regardless of what happens or not.
And you'll see certain guys get a pop too that you normally wouldn't get a pop in the States, like your Finn Balor, like your Sheamus, and obviously, I mean, I think Drew McIntyre gets an alright pop, but like it's going to be loud, really loud there today, and just your other European wrestlers too. I'm excited to see what type of reaction these fans give today, and just excited to see what's to come. We've been teased a lot with a lot of possible comebacks over the last few weeks. Will that Clash the Castle be a time where we see a huge comeback that we've been getting teased with for a while now?
Yeah, it's all great questions. So why don't we get right into how we usually start the show? Everyone's favorite storyline in pro wrestling right now. This is a great pro wrestling weekend. 2 pay-per-views. I'm going to start with you, Partham. Favorite storyline in pro wrestling?
I would say the intrigue going into the trios title right now. I mean, Tony said on at least a couple occasions, not doing the trios titles unless Kenny Omega comes back. Well, there's the trios titles, and there's Kenny Omega back. Now, after we obviously Kenny was going to be in the finals with the Bucks. What happens in that final? I think not to get too far ahead of ourselves with a different preview show, but I think the Elite are going to probably win those titles. But how they win them and what comes after is going to be the most intriguing. Like, how do they approach Hangman? Is there going to be some sort of resolution? Is there going to be tension? Is Hangman going to stick with his Dark Order buddies, or kind of resolve his issues with Kenny Omega? He's already resolved most of his issues with the Bucks, but now where does that leave him with Kenny? And Kenny's coming back in a seemingly a better mood. He's coming out of the face tunnel and all that. So I'm more intrigued by what's going on, not just with the trios titles, but with the aftermath of the trios titles and all the challengers that are going to be possible after that.
I tend to agree that potential Dark Order and Elite Trios title final could be absolute cinema. Dwayne, how about you? What's your favorite storyline?
I'm a big fan, piggybacking off what Partham said to the trios title. However that shakes out, that's going to be a lot of fun. But to branch away from that, I've always been a big Seth Rollins guy. I love Seth Rollins. I wasn't too sure where this whole thing with Riddle would go from this get, but I think they've really started to turn this into something like a decent storyline. And I don't know if it culminates and it finishes here at Clash at the Castle, but I'm just the ability, in-ring ability with both these guys together. I'm excited to see how that really comes full circle today in a wrestling ring. And you've seen all the new things we haven't seen in a long time, taking advantage of the fact that people do have cameras built into their phones and having fans catch the altercations between Riddle and Rollins in the parking lot. Corey Graves mediating that interview between Rollins and Riddle, like that was pretty cool. And then after when they thought they were off air or whatever, and him just going at, and you see the F-bombs being dropped, which was great, and just I just like where that's going. Anything really ever involving Rollins right now, especially, is just going to be gold in my opinion. Especially when you have Triple H pulling the strings. So, and then off camera, storyline, I'm interested to see where this whole Triple H and Chris Jericho thing keeps going, because that's pretty funny. Like, I just kind of take jabs back and forth. You two old timers, two old dogs, Jericho more or less taking exception to something that Triple H said, and I'm excited to see where that goes and how maybe it pans out and change. How what them two talk about, if it has any effect on the on-screen product.
Yeah, given the history of what he said, looking back now, it seems like Triple H probably slipped up with his words a little bit, and Jericho took.
He's attempting to retcon what he said before about, hammering home. This is not developmental. This is not developmental. It's a third brand. It's a whole third brand. Like he was trying to put NXT on the same level as the stuff that Vince was doing. And now that he's in charge and NXT sort of got continually one-upped in the ratings by AEW, they were developmental. So good for them. You beat the second stringers, essentially.
Do you think that he was referring to them as developmental while he was away from the brand in creative because, of his health, whether it was his health issues or Vince just wanted his fingers more on the product?
Well, remember that happened. Him being away from the product happened after they basically acquiesced to AEW and moved to Tuesday. So he already lost the war by then, and it became 2.0 once Vince and Bruce wrestled control away from him and turned it into sports entertainment more or less.
The last year of the product.
Yeah, interesting words. Interesting to see how that stuff plays out.
And one more thing I noticed, Hunter said that, we watch AEW, but, on occasionally. And, of course, there's footage out there of a fan taking, a live NXT event, and he pans over to see the production area with live AEW playing on, the Wednesday Night War, Of course, he watched that.
Was that the?
He said that in the interview. And there's old footage, and this has been known for a while, that they were watching at least for one night, if nothing else, they were watching AEW live in the production area while they were producing their own show live.
If you're in creative, it's your job to watch the product. It's your job. I
don't
blame them. I'm just saying Triple H is kind of wiping on his
during the show is like an interesting way to go about it. I'll get right to Ernie. Ernie, how about you? What's your favorite storyline in wrestling as we speak?
You know what? Well, both what Dwayne and Michael said. There's just so. Right now, there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of great storylines, and I think Michael and Dwayne had some. I first off, I just want to say I must be the get off my lawn guy because I hate the term trios. Like I grew up watching like the Road Warriors and the Freebirds and the Von Erichs kick each other's ass in a 6-man tag. Like to me, a trios match just sounds so wimpy. It's like something that you do like when you're at first grade recess or something.
It sounds
You know
busy.
what I'm saying? Like, what's that?
I think it's basically a way to distinguish their 6-man tags from WWE 6-man tags.
I get it. I just can't stand the name. And I get that it's big in AAA and whatnot, and that's cool. I just want a good old fashioned knock 'em, drag 'em out 6-man tag. But
and
anyway,
they have a
I
trios
digress.
title in ROH as well, right?
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah, I just don't like that term. But that's neither here nor there.
I
However,
think
I think
I
another
think it's shorthand for it's less of a mouthful than 6-man tag. But go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I just want to. I get all the reasons. I just don't like it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying I don't like it. My favorite storyline besides the one said has been Sami Zayn. I think the MVP of WWE the first 7 months was Seth Rollins. I think Sami Zayn right now is the MVP of WWE because there's so many ways they can go with this. Because Sami Zayn, if given the chance, can be a bona fide star. He can be a future champion, and if they're going that way, that's great. And now you're bringing all the intrigue with Kevin Owens. And by the way, wow, long-term storytelling. They actually called back to the feud they used to have, and wow, they actually acknowledged, no pun intended, that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have a history. So it's great to see things make sense again. And Sami Zayn, and the bloodline's going to turn on Sami Zayn at some point. But the greatest part about wrestling is that when you see something coming a mile away and it still happens, you know what I'm saying? Like when Batista finally left Evolution and things like that, we all saw it coming a mile away. But I think part of the greatest thing is when we all see it, but the person involved doesn't see it. Like Triple H, storyline, had no idea Batista was going to turn. He thought it was all good. So I'm really, really intrigued with what they're going to do with Sami Zayn.
Yeah, Kevin Owens being added to that whole mix seems like it really amped up the situation. I love the stuff Sammy and Jay going on between them. The bloodline, you see those backstage scenes, Sammy and Roman talking where he's getting them out of character. I absolutely love that. And I wasn't a huge fan of how they were using Sammy's character before, but I really like the direction that they're going now. And yeah, Dwayne?
Yeah, here's a question. If Triple H was running creative at Money in the Bank, does Sammy walk out with the briefcase? I think he does.
Because that would have been the more intriguing storyline where he was saying, I'm going to protect you, so I'm just going to hold on to this briefcase. And then by the time, now they either turn on him or he turns on them. Now all bets are off.
Yeah, I think I
personally
think he would have, because I think
I agree 100%. Assuming Cody was also injured at the time, like he is, yes, absolutely, 100%.
Because then you could get like Roman trying to convince Sammy to cash in on the U.S. title or Intercontinental or something instead of the Universal. But
go get the 24-hour title.
Yeah, right.
Well, you don't need a briefcase for that, but yeah, point taken.
A lot of questions up in the air as to what would have happened there, but without further ado, let's get right into these matches. We got 6 good ones, as we were saying before we went on the air. 6 matches. It feels like under this new regime, maybe we're just going to get some good wrestling as opposed to absolute chicanery from match to match, short finishes. Who knows? But we got a star-studded lineup here. But first, we will get into speaking of trios, is a 6-man tag. Oh, wait, no, it's not. I'm sorry. Edge and Mysterio versus the Judgment Day. Ernie, I'll let you go first. Who we got?
Another very intriguing storyline right now. We all could have picked as the most intriguing is the Rhea Ripley Dominic Mysterio dynamic. That's just absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely.
And the fact that Dominic is growing his hair out, and you know what? And he is, and I think any red-blooded male is he might be also one of the luckiest men in America. At the same time, it's a night in Cardiff, but he's growing his hair out like Eddie. The whole Eddie, By the way, one of my favorite segments in the history of WWE is Eddie's bedtime stories, when he did the story of Dominic. Triple H loves callbacks. Dominic's eventually going to turn on Ray, and he's growing out the Eddie hair. This is just a really, really intriguing thing for me in general. That's another intriguing storyline. Match itself, I think Judgment Day is going to win. And I think they're going to further along the storyline of, Edge going after them, and I can see Dominic accidentally costing them the match and going from there. So I'm going with Judgment Day today, and what's going to be a fantastic match.
Do you think it's a foregone conclusion that Ray definitely turns on, or Dominic definitely turns on Ray?
A month ago, yes, but with Triple H, you never know. Ray could turn on Dominic, which would be even more hilarious.
That'd be wild.
Yeah.
I do agree though. The Eddie look to Dominic right now has been pretty awesome. Just to see him paying homage to Latino Heat, that's been pretty cool.
His real father.
His real father. Who's your poppy?
Yeah.
Dwayne, who do you got?
I'm gonna go the Judgment Day just because if they lose, they don't have much more. I mean, with an up and rising star, if we call him, with Damian Priest, you have Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. I like those three together, but I don't know, like what's next for them if they lose this match? You know what I mean? I tend to agree with Ernie that it'll be like kind of like a botched finish. Somebody, maybe Dominic does, screw them, for a lack of a better term, and Judgment Day goes home with a victory. It'll definitely be. It won't be a clean finish, that's for sure.
I think the turn happens at some point. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen at something big, and this is not. It's not going to get any bigger than Clash at the Castle in the Stadium over in the UK. I've seen some people, pundits on websites or whatever, picking Edge and Mysterio because a couple of Hall of Famers that the UK fans want to see, and they want to have them, win one of their possibly last matches in the UK, especially since Edge said more or less that this is going to be, he's got 1 year left in the tank or whatever. But that's,
he looks so good. He looks so good for his age, man. I think he's got more than a year, me personally.
But I think he wants to go out, looking good for his age. I mean, that's, for lack of a better way to say it, that's the effing Mark way of thinking is, send the Hall of Famers home happy and send the crowd home happy. Yeah, I think Triple H wants to advance the storyline, and he wants to finally pull the trigger on Dominic Mysterio. For whatever reason he turns, whether it's anger at Edge for, spearing him and not really forgiving him for that. We seen, him giving up the kendo stick to Rhea, whether that's because I don't want to hit a woman or because, I'm kind of into this sort of thing where she's punishing me every other week or something, whatever.
He's into the BDSM.
And you notice in the locker room when Edge was doing that little bit with Kurt Angle, and then you see afterwards the conversation with Ray and Dominic simply calmly asking, "Oh, why'd you pick Edge? Why not me? Well, Edge is familio and this all thing." Well, I mean, the Mysterios already beat Judgment Day at SummerSlam when I thought Judgment Day was going to go over at SummerSlam because you got to keep him strong or whatever. But I think Judgment Day is going to get their win back essentially, and whether Dominic, deliberately or indirectly costs them, I think that, like I said, you got to pull the trigger on. If Dom's going to turn, you got to pull the trigger this time. And I think the Judgment Day has to be kept strong in order to have them be a threat. Edge and Mysterio have enough cachet that them taking a loss isn't going to hurt them in the long run. So I think the Judgment Day is going to go over one way or the other.
I think the best way for if he does turn, and I know Ernie will like this because he said that was one of his favorite WrestleMania moments was Jake Paul on the top rope doing the Eddie Guerrero.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Have him do that to his father.
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
How great would that be?
Oh, I'm pumped right now. Let's fucking go. Pardon my language.
Let's see Logan Paul in the UK tonight too. That'd be electric. I think I'm going to go with the Judgment Day as well. Similar mind. Similar thought process to you guys. I don't think this is a clean finish. I don't think we necessarily see the turn tonight, but I think Dominic gets himself involved a little too much. They were doing this even before the Judgment Day storyline where Dominic's lack of experience, for lack of a better term, was costing him and Ray tag team matches. And Ray wasn't happy with him. There started to be some fusion between the two. I think Dominic comes ringside if he's not already there, gets himself a little too involved, starts simping for Rhea, and somehow costs his dad and Edge the match. And probably with Ray getting pinned, rolled up, like a quick roll-up, I don't know. we'll see. I think I'm going to go with the Judgment Day. So that seems to be a clean sweep from the four of us. Maniac, however, has Edge and Ray going over. Interesting choice there. But, you know, that's what makes this show great. Not everyone agrees on certain things that seem solidified, but yeah,
I'd love to hear his particular reason, other than,
I would too.
Edge and Rey Mysterio, going over for the crowd being happy or whatever. I don't know.
He wrote here with Dom getting pinned, but I'm not really sure what he means by that and if that's possible.
Did he maybe think that Dom was in the match?
Yeah, I thought maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to ask him to elaborate. Our guy is out of town, but
I say
interesting.
I say with him screwing that finish, he just automatically gets the loss here. That's just my opinion. Somebody else can move up in the rankings.
Right. See how the percentages play out after that. And this next match is quite intriguing because we have the Intercontinental title being defended on a pay-per-view for the first time in a long time. I forget exactly how long.
WrestleMania last year.
Was it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we got that tendency from Vince, it felt like the Intercontinental title wasn't as important or getting that way, but we got Gunther and Sheamus battling for the belt in the UK, which is very appropriate too for this Intercontinental title. Let's go back around the horn. Go right to Partham.
Well, speaking of Chris Jericho sound bites, I mean, he told the story years ago that when he proposed, I think I might have told this story before on the last show, when he proposed an Intercontinental title match, and Vince basically straight up told him, nobody cares about the effing Intercontinental title. And that tells you what Vince thinks of, any title that's not the world title. Yeah. But anyway, now under a new regime, now the Intercontinental title means something. Now it's the workhorse title, and these two guys are effing workhorses. I mean, everybody's been saying these two are going to just beat the ever-loving piss out of each other, and it's going to be fun. But, I mean, it's weird because this seems to be the most fun match, wrestling-wise, fight-wise, or whatever. But it also seems like it's one of the more foregone conclusions because they're not taking the title off of Gunther. Gunther is the guy they're trying to build up as, this wrecking ball and as the new workhorse. And, I mean, Sheamus has been there and done that. He'll definitely make Gunther look good, but ultimately Gunther's going to win.
Dwayne?
First off, Gunther, well, where does he actually hail from? Is he German?
Germany?
Like Austria, I thought.
Is he Austrian?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just curious.
If only I had a device where I could look it up while you're talking.
I know, right?
I'll look it up right now.
I'm just curious what type of a reaction he gets in the UK. Because when he was in NXT UK,
Vienna, Austria.
Vienna, yep.
But when he was Emporium, he was the leader of Emporium, wasn't it? Yeah. Back obviously.
Imperium,
yeah. Sorry, Imperium. That's not Emporium. Imperium. Just curious, maybe the reaction he gets because obviously he was a part of that brand in NXT UK, and just he was that whole gimmick they had going there was pretty big. But regardless, sorry for the language here, but I'll piggyback on Partham. These guys are gonna beat the fuck out of each other. You guys, these guys are about as, I would say, especially Sheamus, these guys are not going to probably hold. I'm not saying not hold punches, but they're not going to be afraid to hurt each other just to put on a good show. Like that's just, I feel like that's just in their DNA. They're gonna, you've seen it in matches between Sheamus and Drew. Like they don't hold anything back, and they're going to put on a good performance. So I'm excited. I'm going to put Gunther though over here because obviously that seems like kind of like a push that you're starting to see like a push with Gunther and that storyline, and I just can't see them taking the belt off him this quickly. So I'm gonna go Gunther there. And again, that just goes back to he was a big name at NXT UK, which was born of Triple H. Now that Triple H is running things, I just don't see them just where would you go with Gunther if you took the belt off him? You know what I mean? Like I just don't know. So I'm gonna take the obvious choice here. It's gonna be a phenomenal match. I think it's gonna have a lot more highs than it does lows. And but I'm gonna go Gunther. With the pinfall.
One of my favorite things was with the first NXT UK pay-per-view when Gunther, back when he was Walter made
yeah.
his debut, and the entire crowd lost its you-know-what. That was the great moment. Kind of really set the tone for NXT UK. And then Walter beating Pete Dunne in NXT TakeOver in Brooklyn was one of my favorite matches ever. Having said that, this is going to be an old school New Japan / European strong style match. It's going to be hard hitting, and I don't see any. Yeah, they're going to hurt each other, or else they're going to make it look like they hurt each other. This is going to be an old school knock them out, drag them out fight. And
slobber knocker.
Slobber knocker, yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. We'll put the women and children, to bed. But I think I don't think there's any doubt in my mind Gunther wins this, but Sheamus is gonna have his moments also. It's gonna be a fantastic match.
I want to see still frames of their bodies like after this match. How we got that McIntyre after the altercation with the Bloodline. I want to see like their backs and their shoulders and stuff like that after this match, because I got a feeling they're not gonna, neither of them are gonna leave tonight unscathed.
Yeah, and
Sheamus
tweet out a picture
is
saying
coming out very red.
Yeah. Tweet out a picture saying, "Do you still think wrestling's fake?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And one more thing, with all these name changes, or at least name additions, name reversions, possible, whatever, any chance Trips might find a way to turn Gunther back into Walter?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not a big chance, maybe 30%, but yeah, I can see it.
It'd be I think especially with a title on him right now, it might be hard. That one might be harder to establish, just like a one name, kind of no last name. Like with these other guys, bringing their first names back after taking away just for a short one namer, I think that's a lot easier. I would like to see it, but it might be hard to establish it yet again. But maybe not, because he had it in NXT. The fans were hip with that. But in terms of this title match as well, this is great. I think Sheamus is a very, very, very underrated wrestler.
Agreed.
And we talk about guys that are going to get a big pop at this show over the pond. I think Sheamus is definitely one of them. And you guys said it very well. I think this is going to be a brawl, speaking of the Brawling Brutes. And these guys are going to put on a show. I think Gunther is going to defend this title, though. He's been looking great, been showing absolute signs of life. And they're trying to build him, trying to give him this push, keep the belt on him, establish this title. I'm going to go with Gunther as well. So that looks like another clean sweep from us there. And this next match, match.
What do we got from Maniac on that Gunther Sheamus?
Gunther as well. Yep. So clean sweep. And then this next match might be all eyes on this one tonight. Riddle. Matt Riddle, I should say. Got the first name back. Thank goodness, because just Riddle was kind of whack, in my opinion. Yeah. Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins. As Dwayne was elaborating, this storyline has just been phenomenal lately. It seems like every week we've been starting with these two finding each other somewhere backstage, whether at the ring, in the parking lot, brawling it out. Triple H loves his brawls since he took over. I'll get us started here, though. I think I'm going to go with Seth Rollins and his devious ways. Just finds a way to get this done. This might not be the end of this storyline, in my opinion. I'm going to go with Seth Rollins. Ernie Green, who do you got here?
Well, I definitely do not think this is the end of the storyline. I think this is the infancy stages of the storyline. I can see this lasting 6 to 12 months, especially with Hunter Hearst Helmsley in charge now and likes the long-term storytelling and booking. So I do think that Matt Riddle will get the one up at the end of the feud, but I think tonight Seth Rollins also wins.
Okay. Dwayne?
I'm definitely going with Rollins. And before we get it, I kind of hate it. I mean, I get it. Like, it's part of it's a gimmick, but I hate it how whenever they interview Seth Rollins, they have to go with Seth freaking Rollins. Just stop. I hate that. Just call him Seth Rollins. The freaking thing is great on a t-shirt, and maybe if something elaborate happens or something like, holy shit, it's Seth freaking Rollins. The fact that you introduce him now as Seth freaking Rollins, I hate that. That's just me though. Yeah. But I'll get right into it. I'm gonna go with Rollins here. I think that they're getting ready to give him a big push. Obviously getting right into WrestleMania season. I mean, I think you have a lot of wrestlers who you could give that big push to. But for me, I think if there was ever a time for Rollins, it's now. And I don't think the storyline ends here, but I definitely think Rollins wins in some weird fashion here. Maybe grab the tights, something like that, and to the point where the storyline doesn't end for Matt Riddle. And one other thing, when do we have a timeline or update on Randy Orton's return?
No clue.
I think sometime at the end of the year.
What
He's
is
going to be
it?
out for
Yeah.
a little while.
It's a little bit, yeah.
Not that I was speculating that this might be where you see a Randy Orton return, but I was just curious because I can't imagine that whole thing is obviously over with whenever he decides to come back. But I'm a big Seth Rollins guy, and I think they're about to really push him to the moon, in the next couple of months. So this storyline again won't end here, but I definitely see Rollins going over.
One little note, guys. We got 15 minutes until 1 p.m., so let's be a
I
little
was just
conscious
gonna
of time.
say,
To piggyback off of Dwayne, Seth freaking Rollins could be a name that's one name that we could contract as opposed to adding to it. And by the way, we got Riddle and we have Theory. If we still had Vince in charge, we'd have like Hypothesis and Enigma debuting sometime soon. So it's good that we're getting first names back on the list. I see Seth going over, if nothing else, for the fact that Seth has been losing left and right ever since his Cody feud, and going.
Yeah.
I think he technically beat Roman by DQ back at the Royal Rumble, like 8 months ago. And people are saying that Riddle needs a victory over on pay-per-view as well, but you can have him. Yeah, I see this going longer than just one match. And take a look at the calendar and see what's coming up. WWE Extreme Rules. If you're going to blow off a feud and have someone get their revenge, that's the perfect place to do it. Hopefully there'll be more than one Extreme Rules match on an Extreme Rules pay-per-view, like there was last year, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That was just so.
Anyway,
I see the blow off at Extreme Rules. I see Seth Rollins going over by hook or crook or whatever here. Matt Riddle's anger just might cost him this match, because now the comments, the comments are just going to make him just see red, and it's not a no DQ match, at least not yet, not this month anyway. Seth Rollins I think he needs to get his mojo back, and I see Seth going over here.
Yeah, I got Seth as well. Maniac has a Riddle, believe it or not. And let's be cognizant of time, as Bartham said. Just about 13 minutes till this pay-per-view actually kicks off. We got a 6-man tag in this next one. 6-woman tag, I should say. Belair, Bliss, Asuka versus Bayley, Kai, and Sky. I'm not a huge fan of matchup. I don't like the idea of like Belair, Bliss, and Asuka just randomly teaming together because of this trio, like Bianca Belair being the women's champion just to defend these two after the other trio was getting into some mischief during the women's tag tournament. I don't know. They're great wrestlers. We'll see how this plays out. I think I'm going to go with Bayley, Kai, and Sky, though, here. I think, all of them returning. You got to put them over as a group, as a faction. And maybe some chicanery happens. I'm not sure. But, Partham, who do you got in this matchup?
Yeah, I got Bayley, Kai, and Sky as well. Like you said, they're the new faction, and when you got a new hot faction, you got to keep the heat on them. You got to put them over at least a couple of times. I really think that Dakota Kai and Io Sky should have won the women's tag title tournament. I mean, that you don't. Baron Corbin's comments about, I like the finish of the match because it pissed so many people off, all the marks and whatnot. Yeah, is that the reason you do things, to get a pop out of the diehard wrestling fans who want things to make sense? Anyway, if Kai and Sky were the tag team champions, this match would have just a little bit more weight to it. Like, then I could see Bianca, Bliss, and Asuka possibly winning, and that giving Alexa Bliss and Asuka a future tag title match. But right now, you've got Dakota Kai and Io Sky, who may very well have a rematch because they feel slighted over the wrong person getting pinned in the match. They could still be the tag team champions down the line, but right now, you got to to give them one. You got to put them over. So yeah, I see Bailey, Kai, and Sky.
Dwayne?
I agree, Bailey, Kai, and Sky, and I think it ends in a means where somebody in Belair, Bliss, or Asuka botches something. It causes some like inner team turmoil between them, which will eventually cost them the match. Because I think the Belair, Bliss, Asuka thing doesn't go any further than Clash at the Castle. Like, I think it ends today, and maybe add some fuel to the Raw Women's Championship like title picture. I don't see them sticking together as a trio past today. There's no reason for it. Like you said, I don't know. They don't do anything for me together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, agreed.
You know, they're not. It's not like they're a faction or anything like that, or some like coming out dressed like, you know, in certain like similar fashion. Like, no, I mean, not that Bailey, Kai, and Sky do either, but they don't you know, they don't do anything for me, man. They don't.
Yeah, agreed. Ernie?
I think that Nikita Lyons and her partner, I can't think of her name off the top of my head. Yes, I think they were originally slated to win the tag titles before they got hurt. I think that was going to be like their anything can happen in WWE moment, and they just pivoted just to kind of keep everything else in place, just to keep so they can keep all the other storylines in place. That's why Kai and Sky didn't win it, in my opinion. I don't agree with that line of thinking, but I think that's what happened, in my opinion. Having said that, I think Bailey, Kai, and Sky win this. They're the legitimate like faction. They're going to remain a faction, and they're going to be strong. I think Bailey, top to bottom, is a top 5 person in WWE, male or female, right now. She's just fantastic. Everything she does is at a high Hall of Fame level. I just want to add that in there.
You want to know somebody who's going to blow up once they get to the main roster? Nikita Lyons. I don't know if you guys follow her on social media, man, but she can throw hands, bro. She can throw hands. She's flexible. She's athletic. Like,
still a little green in the ring.
Yeah, but she'll get there.
A bit of work.
She'll get there. But once she hits the main roster, man, she will blow up, man. Like I said, she will. If she can put that whole thing together, like, I'm talking like, I mean, here's my thing when it comes to the women's division is I just don't like when like the in-ring chemistry when things become so predictable. Like, oh, that's about to happen. Oh, that's about to happen, because they're just not in sync. And that's that's not me comparing women to men or anything like that. But like with some of the women in the division, it's just like I watch some of these matches. Like, yep, saw that coming. Yep, saw that coming. Yep, saw that coming. With like, and I'm not saying it's for a lack of athleticism, but like, I know I've just gotten a little bit bored with the women's division, more so than I was maybe a year ago. Obviously with Ronda coming back, with what's God, why am I forgetting her name? She's challenging
Liv or Shayna?
Yeah, Shayna Baszler. Yeah, with her.
Speaking of which,
the fact that those two
nice
are
transition.
Yeah. Like those two are going to be big two faces in the women's division, just for the athleticism alone, and there's the ability to just like, really sell it. You know what I mean? Like I want like that's what I want. I want to look at Nikita Lyons, like she's going to be able to sell everything if she puts everything together.
While you're going on, Dwayne, let's get your thoughts on Liv versus Shayna. What do you think comes out? Baszler?
Yeah.
Baszler. Interesting choice.
Baszler.
The way I lie on this is if Liv beats Ronda Rousey, another MMA gal, I don't see why she should lose to a returning Shayna Baszler so quick. I don't see the reason you strap the title on Shayna Baszler. Fresh off her return, I think you try to build Liv as a champion. You finally give the people what they want. And I think you got to build a credible championship run, especially after the way she beat Ronda for the title in her last match. Partham, let's go to you. Who do you got in this matchup?
Yeah, I'm of the same mind. I think they're going to try a do-over of the Ronda finish. I don't think they necessarily saw the Ronda Liv Morgan finish being so controversial and so being so detrimental to Liv Morgan's title reign. If Liv had tapped out right as that 3 count happened and not right before it, I think it would have come off a little bit better. Like it would have been a draw scenario, but the ref basically saw the pin and gave the win to Liv Morgan. So they put another former MMA girl, one of Ronda's friends, essentially in front of Liv, and I believe Shayna tried to hurt Liv's arm a couple weeks ago on Raw. I believe Does anybody recall that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you got the even more of an underdog story, and I see them doing a similar finish, but not as controversial a one, where Liv finds a way to escape with the title. I do see Shayna being an eventual champion and a nice money match with Ronda Rousey down the line, but I don't think I think it's too soon. You can definitely see the Triple H influence in giving Shayna this title opportunity and building her up as a credible threat, but I think Liv is still gonna be able to escape this with her title reign intact for the time being.
Yeah, definitely. That's very good points, Ernie.
Yep. I'll be quick. We only have 5 minutes left. So yeah. Morgan's gonna escape with the title. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. And here we go. The
What was
big
Maniac
one.
expect?
Liv Morgan as well. So clean sweep on Morgan, except Dwayne. Dwayne is believing in Shayna.
I'll switch to Morgan.
No. You have an opportunity to pick up points here. Increase your percentage.
That's the reason why I did it. But now I'm thinking more about it. I think, especially what Partham said, he got into detail. But it would make more sense for. I'll switch to Morgan.
I'm too good at my job, apparently.
Yeah. Hey, no diss to you there. But here we go. The big one, the big dog, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. I've been loving the build to this matchup. The big question here, boys, is this where a title gets taken off Roman, especially after they are celebrating this 2-year mark that he's had this Universal title. Partham, I'm going to go to you first. Who do you got?
They were trying to celebrate the 2-year mark, and then Drew McIntyre came and just fucked shit up more or less. Yeah, certain people were very pissed about that, and it was really funny. There's a lot of factors going into this match. The Sammy factor. You have Karrion Kross looming there somewhere. He's been making references to both Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. He was sending those dead flowers to Sami Zayn and a little message of TikTok there. You have, I don't know if you heard, Tyson Fury is going to be sitting at ringside, and whether that leads to anything involving either Drew or, not Roman Reigns. They're not going to put Tyson Fury in the ring with Roman Reigns in a title match, for crying out loud. There's been rumors of Solo Sikoa getting called up from NXT. I don't know if this is quite the place to do it on a big stage like this. I mean, Roman has enough lackeys right now that they can help him win a match if that's what has to be done. Maybe someone debuting, and other than Karrion Kross, Karrion Kross is going to be involved with Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns, regardless of what happens. But, the idea of either maybe Braun Strowman or Bray Wyatt debuting in this match or something, but I see that as very less likely. The fact that Drew, of course, ruined the celebration and he's standing tall on the go-home show. I mean, that's booking 101. Someone stands tall on the go-home show and the other person wins the match at the pay-per-view. It's been pointed out that everybody's expectation would be that the Usos will lose the tag titles before Roman loses his world title, because that's the crumbling dissolution of the bloodline. It starts at the foundation and works its way to the top. And the idea that WWE reports are that they're only now just considering taking the titles off of Roman Reigns. That tells me that there's no really long-term plan in place, other than if they get to WrestleMania and Cody Rhodes is right there for Roman and he has the titles. If they're just considering it, then I don't think they're too serious about it. The only factor going for Drew is that he's in his backyard of the UK, and of course, logic says, "Oh, this is a big event. This is a big deal. You want to send the fans home happy." But I think they got too much invested in Roman Reigns to just take him off willy-nilly with a build for Drew McIntyre that's included Baron Corbin and Madcap Moss and Sheamus. I mean, are these the kind of big name guys that he's knocked off that's making him a credible champion? Until Roman's beaten, I think the safe pick is Roman.
Dwayne?
This could be a toss-up. You've heard a lot of speculation about Roman. When will he drop the belt? Will it be now? Who it'll be against? I think I'm going to go Drew McIntyre here.
Okay.
I think this is
there
it.
You go.
I think this is it. I think that, especially in front of a hometown crowd, a stage as big as Clash at the Castle, celebrating the 2-year mark of holding the title and now joint titles. I mean, how long do you realistically keep both belts on him? For me, I think if there was a time to take at least take the belts off him, it might be now.
Ernie, who do you
Really
got?
quickly, I think it's going to be the ending between the thought of Austin Theory, who got his first name back, thank God, and Karrion Kross and the Bloodline and everybody involved. I think the ending is going to be a shit show in a fun way, and I think somehow by hook or by crook, Roman Reigns wins and escapes with the title.
Wow. Okay. I am surprised. I thought more people would be on McIntyre. I know Maniac is on McIntyre. I'm going to take the given opportunity to just increase the percentage. I can't pick against Roman Reigns. There's no reason to for me. What would be interesting is, do we see a Theory cash in here tonight?
Or at least an attempt.
Yes. Could be.
I think Theory might try and cash in, but maybe Karrion Kross stops him.
Okay. Yo, I like that for sure. So we got 3 on Reigns, 2 on McIntyre. That would be interesting to see. I certainly wouldn't complain if McIntyre takes one of those belts off Roman in his backyard. But without further ado, this show is about to get underway, folks. Thank you for joining us and our prediction team. For Mike Partham, for Ernie Green, Dwayne. This is not wrestling with each other, not wrestling with our budget, wrestling with emotion. Folks, have a great Saturday and enjoy the show. Good night now.
Right.
And scissor me, daddy ass.